Today, we're going to build a bridge between two school subjects you'd probably never think go together: science and creative writing. We're going to dive into this really cool educational model that smashes them together to unlock some incredible skills. So, let's see how it works.
Okay, I want you to think back to your school days for a second. You had science class in one room, right? Then the bell rings, and you're off to a completely different room for English. They were totally separate worlds. But let's be real. Is that how things actually work out here, in the real world?
And that separation, that gets right to the heart of the problem with how we often learn. By keeping subjects locked away in their own little boxes, we miss out on all these amazing and honestly super surprising connections between them.
I mean, this image of the disconnected gears just says it all, doesn't it? This is what traditional education can feel like. It often treats subjects as these separate, independent silos, pockets of knowledge that never really talk to each other.
And here's the thing. That approach is just plain outdated. The world today, with all its complex challenges, needs people who can think across different fields, people who can blend analytical skills with creative ones. Just memorizing a bunch of facts in one subject, that's not going to cut it anymore.
So what's the answer? Well, it's all about building an interdisciplinary bridge. The whole idea boils down to something called interdisciplinary learning. It's an approach that deliberately mashes up different subjects, like science, language, and tech, all into one single project or activity. And the whole point is to help students find those connections that they'd otherwise completely miss.
And when you do this, the benefits are huge. For starters, it builds really versatile, flexible thinking. It strengthens both the analytical side and the creative side of your brain at the same time. And that, of course, makes for way better problem solving. This is how learning stops being about just memorizing stuff for a test and becomes, true understanding.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like when you put it into practice? Let's check out a specific workshop that literally turns science into a story.
The model itself is a really clear three-stage journey. First, students get their hands dirty with a scientific concept. Then, they take what they've learned and express it creatively. And finally, they use technology to bring that whole creation to life.
It all kicks off with hands-on science. So in this particular workshop, students don't just read about the water cycle in a textbook. No way. They actually build physical models of it. This makes something that's pretty abstract feel really concrete and way easier to understand. They're basically learning to think like scientists, observing, guessing, and testing things out.
Okay, so next comes the creative leap. The students are asked to take all that new scientific knowledge and funnel it into a story or a letter. Seriously, just imagine writing from the perspective of a single drop of water going on this epic journey. This step isn't just fun, it builds empathy and makes them way better at communicating complex ideas.
And right here, you can see the magic happening. On one side, you've got the scientific model. That's the analytical, systematic understanding. And on the other, you have the creative story that was born from it, the human, emotional side. It's a perfect fusion of left brain and right brain thinking. It's so cool. The final piece of the puzzle brings in technology. The students use digital tools, some even get into basic coding, to create these awesome interactive versions of their stories. And this is so important. Technology isn't just something they consume here. It becomes a really powerful tool for them to create something new and share it with the world.
Okay, so we've got this really exciting, innovative model. But you know what the big question is? Does it actually work? Well, a recent study gives us a pretty clear answer.
Yep, in 2023, a study by two researchers, Turkben and Karaja, did exactly that. They took this workshop model and put it to the test to see what kind of impact it really had on students' skills.
And this wasn't just some quick, one-day thing. The study ran for a full 8 weeks, giving the students plenty of time to really get into the process.
And who are they studying? 6th graders. That's a really crucial age, when those analytical and creative muscles are developing fast and can be shaped for the long run.
So after those 8 weeks, what happened? The results were kind of staggering. 100% of the students, 100% showed a statistically significant improvement in their creative writing skills. Not a few of them, not most of them, every single student. Now that is a powerful argument for this whole approach.
When you see results like that, it kind of forces you to step back and ask some bigger questions, right? Questions about what learning should even look like in the 21st century.
Because what this model is building, really, is the ideal 21st century learner. It's someone who doesn't see these rigid walls between subjects, but instead naturally connects different kinds of knowledge. They can balance analytical thought with creative thought.
They use technology to make things, not just consume things. And ultimately, they're just way better prepared for the incredibly complex, interconnected world that we all live in.
And it all leaves us with this powerful idea that maybe the deepest, most real learning doesn't happen inside those lonely silos we call school subjects. Maybe it happens in the exciting, messy, innovative spaces where they all meet. It really makes you wonder, what other bridges are just waiting for us to build?